Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today we are sitting down with Mr. Ryan Houchens, and we are going to do a special edition this night, and we are doing what we call Dusty Decanters with Ryan. So, Ryan, how you doing today?
Doing all right, Scott.
The other folks on the panel, we got Mr. Toby himself.
Hey.
And Ofo fanboy Josh.
What's up?
So tonight we're going to be trying 5 or 6 different pours here. We're starting off with the 1981 Decupper Peach Brandy, which, we drink whatever they bring us. So we're going to try this, and then we're going to run into the 1981 McCormick, the 1969 Old Crow Chessman, the 1976 Jim Beam, and the 1984 Wild Turkey. So,
gobble, gobble.
I know we're going to talk some turkey later on.
Well, first, we ought to say thank you to Ryan for bringing so many beautiful pours here.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much, Ryan.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate that. So if you want to, just walk us through. This one here is a fresh crack on the Decupper Peach Brandy.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Decupper? Is it Decupper? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
All right.
Decupper.
Where did you acquire this?
So this one I got at an auction. So stumbled onto it and got it in a lot with a whole bunch of glasses and different stuff like that. But it wasn't open, so they could sell it, and it was just for the bottle.
Gotcha.
So a lot of those guys can't sell alcohol legally, so they're selling you the bottle.
So Ryan, before I taste this or try it, you got anything that says it's okay to drink brandy that's this old?
I don't, but my assumption is with as much sugar as in this, and I've had some, that if it went bad, it turned into syrup. So yeah, I think we're okay.
So we should make a plate of pancakes and let's go to town.
Listen, I think you probably could with this. It's pretty damn sweet. So initially, the nose on this thing is crazy.
Oh my God.
But it is sweet. This is like, you literally could probably render this down with a little bit of heat and maybe just add just a touch more sugar, and you could probably actually have syrup, peach syrup.
Absolutely.
This is pretty daggone sweet. So I'm gonna have to eat a chip or something in between this and the actual bourbon to get some of that sweetness out of my mouth.
Do we all get to pour the extra in your cup so you have to drink it all?
No. We'll give it to Toby. He's not driving.
My favorite part of that bottle is it actually gives you a recipe of peach whipped cream on the back of it.
There you go. You're going to try that.
Now that does sound really good. I do love some peaches.
So peaches.
But I'm not getting a whole lot of peach from this at all.
Oh, you're not?
You getting sugar?
I'm getting just sugar. Yeah.
I get sugar, but I do definitely get the peach. It's not overpowering peach. It's not like actually drinking peach schnapps, but
I tell you what, you put your nose in that glass, it knocks you. It hits. It's got a very distinct fruity smell to it, which you would expect. It's interesting. Now, I don't drink a lot of brandy, but this is interesting.
Now, one thing I've done is I've actually soaked Old Crow rye in peaches and then use that for my cocktails. And this is actually very much like that.
That is very interesting.
That's an interesting... I've never even thought to do that.
What kind of drinks what kind of a mixed drink would you make with brandy?
For me, you could do anything. Anything that you would do with bourbon, you could do with brandy. It's just what flavor profile are you going to dial in with it? Theoretically, you could do an old fashioned. It's just it would be a weird one because you would get a lot of fruit texture to it. But you would probably pick something that you would want to go with those citrus notes that you're going to pull out of that old fashioned anyway.
Gotcha.
I don't know that you would want to do a Manhattan. That might be the only one because I don't know how it would marry with the vermouth, but I don't know.
It has a beautiful smell to it. Honestly, it smells great. The taste is okay, but I'm not a brandy drinker.
It's just too sweet. I feel like I'm drinking Southern Comfort, peach flavored Southern Comfort. That's what I swear. That's what I feel like I'm drinking.
That's like
absolutely. That's exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah, it tastes like peach-flavored Southern Comfort. It's super sweet.
Now, we always put SoCo in Dr. Pepper. I don't know if that was... It's just something I did. I don't know if it was a real thing or not.
College boys, I tell you, y'all do some stupid shit.
Is it me or is Dr. Pepper make every drink better, though?
Well, yeah.
Not... You really can't go wrong with Dr. Pepper, but I don't know that makes everything better.
I don't know. I just
like Big
that.
Red. Like, I love Big Red. Big Red's like crack to me, but Big
was
Red
watching
does not
that-
make everything better.
That review guy that I sent you the other day, he was doing a review on sodas, and he said that Big Red was toilet water.
Oh,
You know, so the Dantheens think the same thing. Like, they think it tastes like cotton candy, and it's just really, really too sweet. Which, I mean, that's why I love that's why I love Big Red, is because it's so daggone sweet. But, you know, who
Now,
knows?
The second taste of that, definitely different, sweeter, and pulls out more of the fruity notes to it than the first. The first, it just hits you, and it's like, oh my God, you just took 2 spoonfuls of sugar in your mouth. Mm-hmm. But so 70 proof
70 proof, yes.
from 1981. So a year older than me, probably not as high quality as me, but a year older than me, 10 years older than you.
Correct.
Man, and well, Scott and Toby are just old.
Yep. Toby, there's only one bottle on the table older than Toby, and that's the Old Crow Chessman, 1969.
There we go.
Toby is actually older than every other bottle on here.
I'm old. We get it.
True.
So the McCormick is the same age as me, 1977.
All right.
And then everything else is older than me or younger.
Well, Ryan, thank you for bringing that very, very interesting bottle. And fresh crack today. I love it.
So,
Absolutely.
So what do you think makes Dusty Decanters special or unique?
Well, for me, through this whole crazy COVID year, there hasn't been any standing in line to get highly allocated bourbon. There hasn't been any good raffles. It's all been just online. I haven't been able to hang out with any of my bourbon friends because we're all trying to social distance. And so when I wasn't able to get any good bottles on the shelf, I started chasing bottles that, frankly, Buffalo Trace is making thousands of barrels more now, millions of barrels more. So there's eventually going to be a catch up in the market there. They're not making any more old stuff. So, I mean, even when you open the box that a Chessman comes in, it's just this beautiful smell. I mean, when I had a few of them in my car, you could smell it. It's just beautiful.
You sure that's not mold?
I am 100% sure that is not mold.
Okay, just checking.
You did transport them standing up, correct?
Absolutely.
I've heard some people that's had some horror stories where they laid them down and didn't realize the corks have a tendency to leak.
Yeah, that's an expensive car air
Proposition.
freshener.
I mean, that's an interesting comment that you gave up mostly for searching for allocated bourbon over the summer because nobody was putting it out at the guaranteed set time like they used to, and that there was no standing in lines. And I think I did the same for the most part. I've told you guys since probably June, about 98% of what I've bought has been Old Forester, and only because I could hit it up on the curbside pickup really quickly.
Yep. Same here. I mean, I picked up some allocated bottles here and there, but for the most part, I've done the exact same thing as you. Plus, I've just really been digging the old foe that we've been picking up. So it's been a really good thing.
Well, let's move on.
Move on.
Get some bourbon in me.
The McCormick.
So we've got 1977.
Man, that was a
McCormick.
great year.
That was out of a white Elvis decanter. And so all of these, when they were opened, the corks came out fully intact. So
Cool.
You didn't have any risk of cork damage.
Let's talk about that for a minute. What do you do when you open up one of these and the cork is damaged and you got all that just floating around?
So, for example, on the Wild Turkey decanters, you can hear it when if there's a piece of cork in there. It's just a slight tap against that porcelain. But those corks always break when you open them. So the turkey I knew was going to break when it came out. You have to filter those with a cheesecloth. Just make sure that you get out all the particulate when you do open it.
So it's not like running it through a coffee filter.
If you do that, you're going to lose a lot of bourbon to the coffee filter.
Yep.
Because the cork will actually absorb it. But if you do a cheesecloth, it runs straight through it and it just catches the pieces.
A lot of people, they say that they use cheesecloth and then wire screen. So that way they double filter it that way. That way, if anything that gets through that cheesecloth, the wire filter, mesh filter usually catches it.
So do you grab it out of the decanter, put it in something else while you're drinking it, or do you actually leave it in the decanter while you're partaking?
So all of these, as soon as I open them, except for the beam. The beam is a glass bottle that's painted, and they call it a decanter, but it's still a glass bottle. All the others, they are porcelain decanters. So you're putting them into a stable container. So I put them into mason jars.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, mason jars. Or some people will use old bottles, but I think that you run the risk, I think, in some capacity, especially if it's an actual true cork, you might get a little bit of a different flavor profile. You'll pull off that cork from a separate bourbon. So,
all right. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So we poured this one right before we started, and I started nosing it, and it's very interesting, and I can't tell why it smells so interesting to me, but it's almost like being outside either right before or right after a rain. I don't know if that's a good description of it, but it's got that very fresh, fragrant nose to it for some reason.
See, I find the nose to be just a little, almost like musty, like almost, I don't know, like a room that you walked in at your grandma's house that, that's been sitting there
It smelled like cornbread there, bro.
Did it? All right, that's cool.
Cornbread.
So my grandparents lived in a farmhouse, so like I can almost smell that exact same smell. Like I walk in the spare bedroom, which nobody ever used after my mom and dad's siblings, after my dad's siblings moved out. But that's what I kind of get, is kind of that old, a little bit of dust, that type of thing. But oh my goodness, it's a different pour for sure, but it's tasty.
What do you think, Ryan? What do you think about the nose on this? Am I getting something different here?
I get a very vegetal, green, grassy note that I think you're talking about.
Okay.
Like that dew on the grass when you walk outside.
Yep.
That's the note that I get from it the most. You can't miss the dusty funk though. And some of that I think just comes from sitting in that bottle for so long.
Right.
That is like nothing I've ever had before. Mm-hmm. It's smooth. It's got this really just on the front of your mouth different feel to it, but it's like nothing I've ever had.
It's the second taste, man. Wait till you get in there a second time, but it is definitely a different. Now I will say I think I've only tried McCormick maybe 2 other times in my life, so I don't think it's something that is reminiscent of me or something that reminds me of something else, but it's definitely a different type of flavor profile that it has on there than just about anything I've ever drank.
So 101 proof is what we said?
Mm-hmm. Now this one's the odd one out of the bunch because it was distilled in Missouri.
Okay. Very interesting.
St. Louis? Or did it say? Didn't say.
It probably says on the back of the decanter, but I didn't tote Elvis all the way out here.
Gotcha.
Oh, so this was in Elvis.
Yep.
This was a white 77 McCormick Elvis, yes.
So is McCormick, or was it owned by any of the big ones, or was it its own separate distillery?
It's my understanding that they were their own separate thing, and that's why they started putting some of the more collectible stuff on it, like Elvis, because they were trying to sell more versus some of the more well-known
and I think
brands.
I think Lux Row bought them whenever they bought Ezra Brooks and all that stuff.
So I'm a little too young to know some of this, and I haven't done the bourbon research, but decanters, were they a big thing where people bought it because of the decanter
Absolutely.
itself?
Yeah.
They didn't
It was
care.
like art
It was
with booze.
Yeah, my father tells a story about how his mother and sister and stuff worked for Jim Beam, and they would go down and they would package in boxes these decanters for Christmas every year, and it was a huge holiday release every year where they would basically do these decanters for Christmas. People bound for Christmas gifts. Most of the time they wouldn't open them; they would just put them on the shelves. It was basically a piece of artwork.
How much of what we're drinking is lead paint?
So the lead paint concern comes in with the turkey. Those they used China from Taiwan and
China from China.
Yeah. So with those are the ones that the paint was lead paint. So as long as you don't have it running down the side of your decanter, you're generally okay. It's the paint you're concerned with.
So Ryan, do you like the McCormick?
The McCormick is good. It's a great entry level dusty. Usually you can find these really inexpensively relative to what the other ones we're about to get into. It's not my favorite.
It won't offend you if I say I didn't like it. All right, I don't like it.
So it's definitely
I am going
different.
to finish it, though.
You definitely should. But yeah, it's definitely different. Like I said, it's one of those things that it's one of the most unique pours I've tried in a long time as far as the flavor profile that comes with it. And I will say, when people like, I'm one of those people that I don't typically get mint, but that's something that I got mint on. Like I could taste like some mint, and it might have been what you said, like grassy note, things like that. Maybe Toby can make some more noise. But it's definitely a unique pour.
Thank you for that one, Ryan. Very interesting. Oldest thing I've had up until a few minutes coming ahead of us here.
Yep. So next we're going to go with the 1969 Old Crow Chessman.
So this is the one where they come in the chess pieces?
Yep.
Correct.
And these things are, people get stupid about collecting the whole chessboard.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do you own the whole chessboard?
I have the chessboard. I do not have all the pieces.
Okay.
So all of the chessmen, when they were sold originally, came with a hang tag that you could buy. You could send in your $7, and you could buy the chessboard, and it was a faux rabbit fur chessboard, brown and white, and you could play out a whole game on there if you really wanted to.
You any good at chess?
No.
Scott, how about you?
I suck at chess, but I will say this. I am a massive fan of the Queen's Gambit. I don't know if y'all have watched it on Netflix. A, I find it extremely interesting, and B, that redhead is kind of hot, even though she really isn't, very voluptuous.
So
Or
I haven't
something
asked Toby yet if he's any good at chess, but I just imagine Toby is good at chess.
No.
I am.
Lies.
No, I'm pretty good at chess.
I'm pretty sure my daughter could beat him.
Well, she's probably pretty smart.
Well, she's smart, but, she doesn't play hardly.
I would beat her.
No, you wouldn't. Lies.
Anyways,
Toby makes shit up all the time.
Quickly.
I was just trying to make fun of Toby because he looks like he's good at chess. All right, Ryan, you're nosing it. What do you think?
The chessman is just a totally different experience on the nose. There's just so much there.
And from 1969.
This doesn't smell like something that came out of a 40-year-old bottle. The first one we tried, you could definitely tell that, like you said, the musty funk, or this does not have that.
Toby Funk.
Yeah, the Toby funk.
69. I just had to say it. Sorry.
We're sure you did.
So these came out of a light pawn that was pretty generously full. So that's why you may not be getting as much of that dusty funk, because there wasn't as much air in there to actually oxidize.
So all of these, when they came to you, they had a tack strip in place and never been open that you could tell.
Correct. Yeah, everything
nobody
was...
had poured them out and put 2015 Jim Beam in it.
No.
That does taste like nothing I've ever had. It smells great. I actually love the smell of it. I'm not sure about the taste. It's a different flavor that I'm just not used to.
How would you describe it? You've tried it several times, I'm sure.
The closest thing that I can say is on some of the older bourbon, you'll get a leather note, like a saddle that's been oiled, and you get this leather note on the finish.
So the Chessman to me was better than McCormick.
Absolutely.
Much better, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Much better.
I don't know that I could describe it much other than better.
So I'm gonna agree with what Ryan said. I think you get a little bit of that leather. You definitely get some caramel notes, but it's still got some of that dusty, old bottle taste to it. Like you can tell it's got some age to it, but it's very, very reminiscent to me of Jim Beam in some capacity. Like very similar to what I would think of Jim Beam when I think of that. So I'm kind of curious to see how it corresponds to what the actual 76 Beam tastes like.
I'm a little interested to know how much I have tainted my taste buds over the summer drinking 95% Old Foe, and what I have just honed the taste buds into what I like and not able to pick up on a whole lot of other stuff right now.
I don't know. I hope you haven't ruined your taste buds.
You couldn't ruin it with Old Fobo.
Well, I'm just saying, just in general, you got to be able to have a...
He said
a
Old
variety of
Fobo.
Ofobo.
That's what he just said.
Old Fobo.
Ofobo.
All right.
So,
Now,
second
like this.
sip is
I
always
like
my
this one.
favorite.
Yeah, one of the interesting things with this was that I actually got these with the original distributor's case. So it's actually got the date. So these were November of 1969. So it's unusual that you would find the original case with the pieces. But that makes it one of the earlier Old Crows.
So 51 years old this month?
Yes,
That's
51
correct.
years old.
Damn, that is old.
It is, yeah.
It's older than everybody in this room.
Corn was different back then.
Well, it just shows you that even though as long as you store them correctly and everything like that, the stuff's going to last.
I mean, we assume that we're all going to make it through the night and not drink some lead paint or something.
So I watched a video the other day on Dusty Hunters. I don't know if you are on that group or not, but like this dude literally found a 3-gallon jug of some bourbon made in Kentucky or Illinois or something.
They made bourbon in Kentucky?
From, well, I mean, I can't remember where it was from. It might even
Don't
be
laugh
Missouri,
at
but anyway,
Toby.
it was,
It makes him do it more.
It was from pre-prohibition. It was a 3-gallon jug, and it was actually in its original like wooden box, like crate that it came in. And the dude undecants it, it's got this big jug, and he's like literally pouring it in. It's just crazy when you look at the fact that how on earth did that make it from 1918 to today?
It was stored in someplace cool and no sunlight.
I know, but I mean, still, it's just crazy to think that something made it that long. It's just like when you see people, pull out like Jonah. Anybody knows Jonah that's in the bourbon community. That dude finds some weird shit, and like, where does he find it? Like, I mean, how are these bottles just still sitting around in people's basements or
The back corner of the
cellars or something?
interwebs.
The interwebs?
That's right. The back corners of the interwebs somewhere.
I really like this Chessman. I've had it before. I enjoy this pour. To me, it's definitely something different that you don't experience with a lot of other Dusties.
Okay, so I'm an inexperienced guy on all of these here to know the brand or any of that. Do you know any of the mash bills on these things to know what they were?
I don't know the mash bills on these, no. What I do know on the Chessman is that the time that they were putting these into bottles, they were pulling barrels out of the warehouse, and they said they were at least 8 years old. And I think 8 years old was an understatement, because if you taste some of the oak and some of the caramel that's in there, I mean, that's developed with bourbons that we know today. They're 12 or 14 or 15-year-old bourbon to be able to get that flavor. And I think that was commonplace. I think they just said, well, look, the worst barrel we have in there is 8 years old. We're just going to throw 8 years old on that. And I don't think age statement played as much of a role back then.
More about the flavor.
Right. Absolutely.
Gotcha. What are we going for next?
So next we're in the 1976 Jim Beam. So I think that we're going to find that these taste very similar. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. Haven't tried this one yet, so we'll find out.
It does not smell the same.
Beam me up, Scotty.
It definitely has a better nose than the other three or the other two that we've tried. Well, three.
So, Josh, you can rest easy that this one, you can have as much of it as you want. It was in a glass bottle. It was had no exposure to lead. These were the bicentennial Saturday Night Press bottles, and they were glass bottles that were hand painted onto the glass, and there was a whole series for that year. Now, this one specifically was a Airman Bicentennial decanter, and everything came out beautifully dark relative to, if you hold the McCormick up to the light, just the darkness there is crazy different.
Am I picking up, it has a beautiful nose to it. Am I picking up butterscotch in that thing? Almost like I don't want to call it a Werther's, but it's got a really strong butterscotchy.
So I'm getting toffee, but toffee and butterscotch are very close or reminiscent of each other.
And I was going to say toffee as well, but I'm not sure that I was picking it up that way. But it's got a really strong, that butterscotch caramelly.
It almost tastes like pecan praline.
Like
when you're making, you ever made pralines, or your mom ever make pralines? Your grandma?
I'm not from Georgia.
Like a chocolate turtle without the chocolate.
I just like chocolate.
I don't know. I'm getting pralines.
I don't know that I've ever had a praline.
You've never had a praline?
I don't think so.
How have you never had a praline?
I was going to say the same thing, Toby, but then I thought Scott might make fun of me.
I'm not going to make fun of you. I mean, I will definitely say that candies are very family distinct, right? Like certain families eat certain things. Like Toby's family obviously like bourbon balls because Toby loves bourbon balls.
Well, it's because my mom likes bourbon balls.
But that's what I'm saying. So your family, so your mom made bourbon balls, so therefore you grew up eating bourbon balls, so therefore you like bourbon balls.
So, Scott,
Balls of bourbon.
Make us some pralines.
Yeah, why don't you make us a pralines
I don't know
next
how to
time?
make pralines. I mean,
Come on.
I'm sure I could do a recipe and
I'm
figure
sure
it out.
you can find a YouTube video that has.
I absolutely could. So we'll talk about that in the future.
Now, Scott, is it pecan or pecan?
Oh, it's pecan.
Okay.
Absolutely. Nobody says pecan around here.
Is it?
That's Georgia. People say pecan down in Georgia.
Is it caramel or caramel?
It's caramel. I mean, y'all are some fucked up people.
The city's just north of Indianapolis. It's Carmel.
That's because there's only one A in it.
That is true. There is only one A in caramel, but it's called caramel because everybody in Indiana says caramel except for you two fuck dicks.
It's caramel, bro. Caramel.
No.
Are you going to eat a caramel apple or a caramel apple?
Caramel apple.
All right. This was really good. And the same thing, is you kind of taste that pecan, that caramelish butterscotch flavor in it, and beautiful.
Dude, I
pour.
definitely get nuts and baking spices and all kinds of stuff on this. This is definitely a unique pour, and it's very good.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of my favorite Dusties. You can drink it without feeling bad about it.
Well, Beam's pretty regularly available. I mean, like you said, this and probably the McCormick are probably the cheaper ones of the ones that you find.
What did we say the proof was?
This one's 86.
Right
around
around
this.
It's super sweet.
Right around that proof that I just love to drink.
You love that 90.
I do love the 90 proof. But you know what got me started deep into bourbon was I think it was an 86 proof. And I'm thinking it was 86, and it may have been lower. But the old Medley 12-year
Oh, yeah.
that I really enjoyed the crap out of for a year or so. That was like the odd, hard-to-find bottle. And that's what got me really digging more into bourbon. And then the more I drank it, the less I liked it. But that kind of reminds me some of that.
No, I get that for sure. I'll tell you, this is solid. I really enjoy this. I'm gonna get in for my third sip just to see if anything's changed.
I already finished mine off. It was good, though. I'm debating if I want to finish the little bottle he brought them in. So, all right, we've had McCormick, we've had Chessman, and we've had Beam. So we're on our way to one of my favorites.
On our way to 1984.
Ooh, I'm older than
You're
it.
actually older than this one.
Yeah,
Nice.
So this one's a 1984 Wild Turkey decanter. This is a spring decanter. So they did 4 decanters for the year. This is the first one for 84.
And this one's 101 proof?
101 proof, yes.
So is
Wild
that,
Turkey 101.
what was the reasoning in the order that you wanted to go?
I wanted you guys to see the difference between the Beam and the Chessman back to back. The turkey, because it's always been a higher rye mash bill. That one is just that higher percentage of rye. It just makes it very different. And then the McCormick is just its own animal. So, just like Josh, it's a love it or hate it Dusty.
Gotcha.
But you're able to learn those Dusty funk flavors.
Wait.
and-
Are you saying it's like me? You either love me or you hate me?
Exactly.
I haven't known you long enough, Josh.
Most women would probably say that.
I like it. So I took a nose on this one, and it just smacked my nostrils.
And depending on what day we catch Mandy, she might feel the same way. It's either I love him or I hate him.
Yes. Has Wild Turkey's mash bill stayed the same? I've not paid attention to the old stuff. Did it?
Pretty much. It's tried and true. That 101's not changed a whole lot.
Is this a 101?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Jimmy Russell made this one, right?
Shit, he could have. Who knows? In 1984, he was there working.
Okay. When did Jimmy take over being the master distiller? Anybody know? I guess I could get out the old Google.
You could. There's a thing called Google, and it goes on these big things called smartphones that are better than most supercomputers from the 80s.
Reaches out to those interwebs.
Why? That's so funny that you all said interwebs. Both of you have today. We're reenacting a play from high school, and when we were talking about kids, that was one of the things. That was one of the things they had in the dialogue that they wanted me to say was the interwebs.
Now, just to be clear, they didn't have the internet when you all were in high school?
Not really, no.
No, AOL was what, 96, 97?
Yeah, when I was in high school, the only computers that we used was for typing and to get the card catalogs in the library.
Or to play Oregon Trail.
Yeah, that was
And that was
or
actually
solitaire.
that was actually elementary school, but middle
yeah,
school.
Okay.
It was 98 before I owned my own first computer.
Gotcha.
And Toby was one of them fancy dudes. He always bought Macs from the beginning. As soon as Mac came out, Toby got to get Mac.
I'm surprised to say that you learned to type or to use a computer for typing. I learned how to type on a typewriter, and that was in like 1998. Just different.
No, we had keyboards.
Where
It was
did
called,
you
it was called
grow up?
keyboarding at Jeff I.
Jeff,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Isaacs. We didn't have it.
hey, same guy.
Yeah, Mr. Isaacs. Yeah,
We had typewriters, though.
We didn't have typewriter. We had an actual like little
Like the old Commodore 64 type deals.
keyboards. Yeah,
I didn't learn how to type until AIM Instant Messenger because that was the only reason I had to actually learn it.
AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, to talk to girls in middle school. Yep.
look
And
at
getting those
you.
chat rooms and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You ever send him any dick pics?
Stop it.
That would have taken like 3 or 4 hours to upload and then 3 or 4 hours to download. So
Because you got a big schwanz, or because it was the
Stop
speed?
it.
And he needed 4 monitors
Ugh.
side by side.
So I was watching this.
All right, we digress.
No, I know. But I got to tell this funny story that kind of goes
But
along
do
with
you?
this. I really do. It's kind of funny. So I was watching the best of roast on Comedy Central, and it was just like little 3-minute snippets. And the Justin Bieber roast.
Next, I don't need to hear about Bieber.
It's not even about Bieber, so it's about Shaq. So Shaq was on the Bieber roast, and every single person that roasted Shaq talked about how big his schwanz was. I just thought it was funny. It's funny.
Now
way.
he's like the Papa John's guy.
I know he is.
He's the face of Papa John's.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
You could get the Shaq-a-roni.
Yeah.
Do you think he called it the Shaq-a-roni back then?
Who knows what they called it back in?
So I enjoyed the Beam nose better than the Wild Turkey. I haven't tasted a sip of it yet.
I would agree with you.
I would think you probably would. I mean, this is a much more higher rye, so it's going to have a little bit more spice to the nose. So it's going to hit you a little different.
I was gonna say I get a little bit more cherry on the nose of this one versus the others.
Yeah, it's different.
You should have seen the face Toby just made. Not much different than his regular face, but still ugly.
It's still ugly as fuck.
This has a very interesting front of the tongue kind of mouth feel to it. Different than all of the others. And I hate to say that I like the Beam better than this one.
Like this to me doesn't taste that much different than that 94 101 that I have in that bottle.
My taste buds just must be messed up right now.
I mean, you got that rye, and it's high on the front side. It has just a touch of bite, and then you got a little bit of that caramel and a little bit of that vanilla. But it's just got a nice smooth finish on the back end. I mean, it's Wild Turkey. It's 101.
Ryan, what do you like the best here?
My favorite's the Beam.
Okay, I would agree. Beam.
And I'm not saying this is not the Beam's not better than this. I'm just saying this is this is turkey. I can tell this is turkey. Like just drinking it is turkey.
Okay, I hear you. Toby, what do you think?
Yeah, I like this,
But you really like the peach brandy?
I like the Beam by far out of these 4 would be the one that I would like to continue to sip on. This one's not bad. Chessman's not bad, but that Beam, I think, I don't know why it's just got a great flavor to it.
No, that Beam is definitely really, really good. I think this Wild Turkey is really good. Man, I don't know. Let me get into this one more time.
Get it. That peach brandy, though.
Yeah, the Wild Turkey, I think the thing that I appreciate about the Dusty versus today's 101 or even a early 2000s 101 is just the fact that because it's a little bit older, that rye, even though it hits you on the front of the palate, it kind of mutes out. So it's not as punch you in the face as some of the today's 101.
It doesn't go all the way back. You're right. It doesn't. It's just very, very little on the front side, and it doesn't even go to the middle. It's not even like front to middle finish. It's just front, little bite, and then it's just got a really smooth finish.
It's not the Wild Turkey 101 that I remember from 2003 when I was in college.
No, definitely not that.
It is.
You're also not shooting it, Josh.
Well, that's true. We did
Fair enough.
We killed a whole 5th in one night.
That was like 9 of you, though. 2 of you.
Turned 21, bro.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with that.
Remember Dave's 21st birthday?
Oh my God.
All right,
I don't even want to think about that one.
Toby, what'd you like the most, man?
By far, it was the Beam. This
Okay.
was the one that easily for me was the best nose, best overall flavor. But the last 3 are something that I would certainly like to have on my shelf.
Gotcha. I would totally pass on the McCormick. Wouldn't even worry about dropping $1 on it. The Beam was really good. The Chessman, to me, was better than the Turkey, but maybe it was just different. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
I'm going to go Beam Chessman, turkey.
Thank you for copying me.
Copier.
I am. I agree with you. I think that's the route that I would go in that situation.
What about you, Ryan?
Which I was surprised because I really thought the Chessman would blow the rest of them away. Honestly,
Because it's so old?
no, just because I've had it before and it was good. But I've not had a beam. I've not had a 76 beam. Evidently, I mean that's a good solid pour.
So
Yeah.
I don't drink a lot of Beam. It's not something that I would say I'm familiar with in current day whiskey. Is
Why not?
2020
Come
Beam
on.
good?
Yes.
It's gonna taste very different than that, only because it's not gonna have that dustiness to it. It's just not gonna have that musty.
I tried a bonded beam the other day, $24. I really enjoyed it.
Jim Beam bottled and bond there's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfectly good pour.
Who
It's
makes
just like
Beam?
early times bottled and bond. It's a perfectly good pour.
Did he just say who makes Jim Beam?
It's not something I drink. I don't. Is it?
It's Beam.
Jim Beam?
It's just Beam.
Jim,
Okay.
Jim Beam makes Jim.
All right, I
Beam,
couldn't recall
Knob
if it was-
Creek, all those down there.
Oh, Knob Creek brand. Okay,
Yeah, Jim
sorry.
And
Beam.
you
guys.
like Knob Creek.
Yep. Booker's, Little Book, Knob Creek.
Beam Suntory.
The only one of those that I drink is Knob Creek, and I just don't pay attention to the brand. So
And that might be why you like the Beam so much.
I like to go wading in the creek, but I'm wading in a 120 proof creek, which is blown me away a lot this year too. Drinking the single barrels.
A 12-year-old Knob Creek is really good.
The 100 proof or the 120
I
proof?
still just prefer
The-
or the
120.
cask strength. Sorry.
I say
No,
I'd
the
go with
120
picks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd prefer to go with picks for Beam stuff. The only shelfer Beam product that I really have messed around with is the Prohibition style.
Prohibition style.
Not Old Tub. Who makes
Is it the
Old
one
Tub?
that's like $15?
I ended up buying them at $8 a bottle at Party Center.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those are actually good
Yeah.
for just a low-end bottle. It's a very good pour.
Old Tub. What's the other
Who
one?
does make Old Tub?
I don't remember.
Is it a Heaven Hill brand?
I don't think so. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Get on the interwebs.
Anyways,
Weber's
Repeal Batch.
Oh,
Yeah,
repeal
repeal
batch?
Yeah.
Weber's a big fan of Old Tub now.
He is, and I was shocked. You know what? I'm so proud of Steve. I mean, he's really, he's grown as a man and as an individual. He drinks bourbon.
so I think it was one of our single barrels though, is what got him into drinking it. If I recall, here over the last couple of months,
the Starlight picks.
One of the Starlight picks is what it was.
Yep, he really enjoyed that.
So, Old
The
Tub-
2020s closed.
Old Tub is a Jim Beam brand,
Has it been?
and I do like Old Tub. It for a $20 bottle, it's not bad at all.
No.
But
No.
yes, Weber, as you all called him.
Weber.
He was. I think he told me he killed the 2020's closed bottle,
Yep.
and it was a good bottle, so I don't blame him.
No, I've still got a few of those left. I
I
don't know how
I
many
got
you
one
got.
of those.
I've gone through 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
I
through
like whiskey.
two. I'm
I like whiskey.
I'm
what do you know?
I'm on to my third one, but only because I took those 2 bottles to Dave, which were open and they had about yay much gone out of them.
I like whiskey. Whiskey likes me. Have at it.
And you're
like-
fighting COVID with
Do you
it.
like corn? Do you like rain?
I like corn.
Do you like whiskey? You like when your
What song
girl
are you
gets a little
thinking?
frisky?
It's one of those songs. I
It
can't
is,
remember it. I
It's,
don't listen to that much
Was that
kind
Luke
of stuff.
Bryan?
So you're gonna bust open
Rain is a good thing.
So
I was going to say the 2020's closed. I really like that one on one big fat cube and just fill that glass all the way up.
You know
that was
what?
about perfect.
So we've talked about this a couple times, and I don't like it with water on it. I don't like it with ice at all. It is a very good pour just by itself. That's where you're going to get the cherry flavor and the caramel notes in it. But I think once you put a little water in it, for some reason, it just dies down really quickly to me. But drinking it just neat, very good in my opinion. Scott is here opening up a bottle. He had to do the
This is the Copper and Kings Chocolate Cherry Stout.
Yep. This was the Silver Dollar and Proof restaurant. They did a
Pearl.
No, Proof.
Oh,
was
Proof?
Yeah, so Silver Dollar and Proof did a joint venture on buying this barrel from Copper and Kings.
Okay.
So this is definitely not dusty, but it is got a different. This is part of the Phoenix series, which basically what they did.
Phoenix. Is that like in Harry Potter where the bird that goes
Yes,
away?
catches on fire. Yep.
Okay.
Or Phoenix from
Arizona.
what is it, Marvel? Phoenix. Jean Grey turns into Phoenix.
I got nothing on
You do have a thing for redheads, Scott.
I do have a thing for redheads.
So before we get to this, thanks again, Ryan, for bringing these Dusties. They were all really good. The Peach Brandy still hits me kind of funky. But before we get into this, I want to say thanks again.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I wanted to bring up before we get to this Copper and Kings bottle here is during the anniversary edition, everybody was talking about their best distillery tours and everything like that.
We were talking about you.
Well, that too. But it
How
wasn't
you passed out?
It wasn't brought up about the tour that we did with Copper and Kings. To me, it was one of the best that we've done. Brandon over there at Copper and Kings gave us a great tour. We got to go down and hear them beating music into the barrels. All the different. We got to taste so many different things. It was amazing. But I just wanted to bring that up before we get into this.
Beating music into the barrels.
That's what he does with the music.
It's called sonic aging.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's like the 1970s porn music right there. Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
No, it wasn't. I didn't go chicka bow wow. All right, Toby, you got it. What do you think, buddy?
That's a heavy pour on this one.
It's got a real sweet nose. It's got a good nose. I really like the smell of that.
So while you all are trying, I'm going to tell a little bit more about the actual Phoenix series itself. So what they did was they took barrels and
imagine
that were basically spent, and then they cooked the new barrels. They charred the new barrels with the old barrels, so they got all the flavor from those old barrels charred into the new barrels.
Is it like when you take a marshmallow and you stick it over the fire and it all caramelizes?
Yes. So basically, they took the wood from the old one, smoked it all up, set a fire, and basically turned all that wood into new wood.
Okay, so I got to ask. I've noticed this. Do you guys get sweet tea in this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I want to make sure. It was very interesting. It's like a kind of a...
almost like an Arnold Palmer sweet tea. It's got a little bit of a citrus and hit.
I was going to say not like a Southern sweet tea, but like something you get in Louisville.
Yeah.
Because Southern sweet tea is like, it's just tea.
Right. But no, I definitely get that. I get almost, like I said, almost like a little bit of lemon or citrus, maybe even orange.
Oh, what was it? Okay, so we were a couple weeks ago. Or maybe a week ago, whenever it was. We were at Rabbit Hole and gin, and I told you guys that was my first time really drinking gin, other than off the whatever you want to call it at Starlight.
And you weren't bullshitting about wanting to get a bottle, and you actually went down and paid for one on the way out.
I went and I paid my $50. I got my bottle. I took it home,
cracked it,
poured it open, and I said, "Damn, smell that! It smells like a juniper and some lemon." And it did. And then I poured Mandy a glass, and she's like, "I don't want that shit." But I liked it. I enjoyed it that night.
Talk about college. I always thought I hated gin. Well, I figured out I just don't like tonic.
So I'm 38, and I want to say this is probably the maybe second time in my life I've had gin, just because it sounded like an old man drink.
So I think I'm where you are with that, Ryan. I just don't like tonic. Gin doesn't really bother me, but I just something about it. And I think what made me realize that was when I traveled to Europe like the third time, was like they want to put bubbly water and fucking
look
everything.
at me. I've been to Europe
it.
3 times.
Show off.
Sorry, my bad. I travel. Listen,
not this year. You don't.
You can't take
only to Carmel.
Can't take your money with you, bitch.
He travels to Carmel.
I travel to your mom's.
So this has a lot of heat to it.
Oh hell yeah! It's 126. It's got some stank on it.
I taste sweet tea too. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's got that. It's got a little. I'll call it a little bit of afterburn. Pretty smooth though.
But that chocolate cherry comes out on that finish real clear to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm not getting it, but
you're not getting that the chocolate.
Let me try it again.
And I'd be honest with you, you get that stout beer like you get.
I love stout beer. It is good.
It's in your mid palate. So when
it's in my belly.
So take a little bit of it.
This has a long finish. It just sits there and you can just feel it and
just swish it around just a little bit, especially like in the mid part of your mouth.
Yeah, sides of your tongue and the tip.
Yeah, especially on the side. Like
just
that's where I really pick up like the stout, and then as it goes down, you really get that cherry, and you get a lot of the caramelization from that brandy.
So no burn, no afterburn. A lot of I want to call it kind of creamy almost.
It's got some oil to it.
A creamy feel going around, swishing there in your mouth, and it's
not very viscousy.
Good God, Toby, thank you.
Yeah, the legs on these are fantastic.
I like it.
It doesn't hang to the glass though. I mean, it's not super oily, but it's got an oily flavor when it hits your mouth.
It
And maybe
almost-
just this glass doesn't hold oil very well.
Looks like it's in a George T. Stagg bottle. Am I wrong on that?
No, it's very similar to a George T. Stagg bottle.
It's gourdy.
Other than the fact that it's got the big and on the side of it.
Ampersand?
Yep. And ampersand, whatever.
Ampersand.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the most overlooked bottles at the Silver Dollar sales. I mean, that's been available the last 3 sales.
I'm
Yep.
really disappointed that Scott didn't pick me up a Blanton's. What the heck?
I didn't know you wanted a Blanton's.
Check your text.
I messed that up, man. My bad.
All good. I got enough. I'm just buying Old Fo. It don't matter.
So I really enjoy this.
I do too. Very good. Phenomenal. So, do they make this in house or is it something sourced? I don't know anything about making brandy.
So they make their own at Copper and Kings, and they basically, like I said, they took what was a chocolate cherry stout beer that was in a bourbon barrel, and then they set it on fire and made their brand new barrels that they aged this brandy in.
But you're telling us how they finished it, right? Or is it
No, that's how
the brandy gets made, and then they finished it
In that barrel.
a chocolate cherry stout barrel,
No,
or a
In
chocolate.
No, they aged it in the same barrel the whole time.
Right.
Okay.
But it was the barrel that was made off of the fire from a chocolate cherry stout barrel,
Gotcha. Okay.
which is weird. But they said they wetted them like a whole bunch before they set the fire. Like
This may be
Is that the correct word? Wetted them?
they
moistened.
wet them down, moistened them, whatever. I don't, dude. You can make fun of me all you want. I don't care.
I will have to say this is one of the weirdest tastings I've done. We started with a peach brandy. We drank 4 really old and three of which were good bourbons, and then we went to a chocolate cherry stout brandy.
Yep,
Weird as hell.
it is weird as hell, but it's tasty.
Tasty, yes.
So,
But you said you weren't going to try that one.
Well, I tried to slowly partake of the others, so I didn't drink too much.
Gotcha.
I bet he finishes it too.
I always do.
It's like Mortal Kombat. Finish him.
Oh my God, was that PlayStation Mortal Kombat or was it Nintendo?
That was Sega,
That
wasn't
was
it?
Sega
Sega
originally.
Genesis.
Yeah.
Sega!
It was Sega. The only reason I really remember is because I used to work at Aladdin's Castle, and I would play Mortal Kombat 2. And
You were like what,
beat the shit
20
up.
when the original Nintendo Entertainment System came out?
No, I was.
We were
I was
younger
younger
than
than that. I was in high school. You
I'm
fucker.
messing.
So is Aladdin's like Gaddyland?
So Aladdin's
No.
You've never
Castle.
been to Aladdin's Castle?
I
He's
don't-
too
I don't know
young.
what
Aladdin's
Aladdin's
Castle
is.
was out of business before he was born.
It was arcade. It was just
Yeah.
just all video games, the old style Pac-Mans and stuff like that. But they were just lining the
Ryan
store.
was born when we were in high school, when we graduated high school. So Aladdin's Castle was still around when he was born, but he would have never been old enough to ever partake or enjoy it.
Huh.
So
I've been to Aladdin's Castle.
yeah, but
Very cool.
so
They had Aladdin's castles in the malls. So
Back when
okay.
people would go places and you could take
Do-
coins out of your pocket and put them in things.
and do things. Yeah.
And you could go to the mall without your parents.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, you
absolutely. They I remember being dropped off at the early age. Here, go. See ya.
please just
Well,
go.
Then there was River Falls Mall. And
Here's
we'll
a
not go
quarter.
down
Make
that
sure you keep it so you can call us, because there weren't no fucking cell phones.
one. Way.
I do remember payphones.
How about pagers? I bet Scott had
I had a
3.
beeper. I definitely had a beeper.
All
I had a
right.
Motorola beeper. So, well, Ryan, thanks for the experience. Going through this flight was very unique and very special, I think. We all had the general consensus that the 76 Beam is the winner.
Absolutely.
The 1969 Chessman is second, Wild Turkey third, and the McCormick finished a distant fourth.
Absolutely. The only asterisk I put in there is that I believe the Chessman nose is probably the best out of all 4.
I would agree with that.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. The Chessman knows there's something very special about that for sure. And we can probably even throw the 1981 DeCupper peach brandy in probably 4th place in front of the McCormick.
I'm going to go get some pancakes.
I think
and
that
take
would be
some of that
wise.
home.
But I tell you,
Pancakes and bacon.
I love bacon. Why is bacon so good?
Because.
Oh, we should glaze some bacon with that.
Holy
Yes.
shit. How good would that be?
Toby, you got any bacon?
Toby, you got bacon?
I don't think I do.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Next.
I hear you. So we had a great experience. Good things. Ryan, do you have anything you want to let people know about you? Do you want people to look for you? Probably not. I don't know.
No, I don't have anything that anybody needs to follow me for, but, just don't take for granted stuff that you don't recognize. If there's a bottle on the shelf that has some dust on it, it's in the back. A lot of these little stores, especially in southern Indiana, they'll just put the newest stuff on the front of the shelf, and it takes a little bit of looking, but you can find some gems in there.
Yep. Matter of fact, one of my favorite Dusties ever is one that Toby found at an estate sale, 1981 Old Granddad 114.
Matt
Super
still
damn
has
tasty.
it.
I know he's got like this much left though. I mean, it's like literally just a sip.
baby.
So
And I gave it to him. That was stupid, wasn't
it
it?
was dumb, but you're a good dude. I
And
don't care
sold
what I don't care what they sell you.
Elijah
Max
Craig,
profits.
Yep.
that he got hooked up on.
Yep, absolutely. So,
Also,
actually,
fanboy?
I need to say, hey, if you're going to look for us, bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com is the best way to email us. If you want to follow us on Facebook, you can do that. You can get us on Instagram, Twitter.
Tweet.
We want you to hit the subscribe button so that way whenever then when the episodes are downloaded, you get them instantly, and you just
subscribe on Apple Podcast or whatever.
Spotify. We are now on. What did I tell you? We're on Pandora. Is that the one we were on?
Stitcher and Amazon.
Amazon was the new one we picked up. So Amazon Prime. If you want to listen on there, you can listen on there. Even though it's but we have all those outlets that you can listen to our podcast. But this is Scott, Toby, Mr. Ryan Houchens, and Josh signing off.
Peace.
Peace.
Out.